Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging head first into something pretty tricky. Critique.
Right. That whole feedback dynamic, it can be incredibly stressful.
We've all been there, haven't we? In those feedback sessions that feel less like, a chat and more like you're on trial.
Exactly. And that feeling, that sort of dread, it gets right to the core puzzle we found in our sources today.
Which is?
Well, why can the same action-giving critique sometimes make a team really grow, build loyalty even, and other times, poof, people just retreat, shut down, trust evaporates?
Yeah, feedback shouldn't feel like a judgment, should it? It's supposed to be a blueprint for getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And the sources threw up another kind of deeper puzzle for leaders. How can that superstar performer, the technically brilliant one, actually end up weakening the whole group, slowing everyone else down?
It's counterintuitive, isn't it? But that's why today we're not just complaining about bad feedback. We're aiming to deliver a framework, a proven one. We're looking for the specific method managers can use to redesign their feedback systems. Everything from those long, sometimes painful critique roundtables to the quick weekly one-on-ones.
The goal being to get better at diagnosing problems.
Right. And ultimately boosting the collective team performance, getting beyond just adding up individual talents.
So our mission today is really about transforming that often overwhelming flood of feedback into clear next steps.
Exactly. Stop sending people home with 30 confusing opinions rattling around in their heads.
And start sending them home with maybe 3 to 5 really clear, actionable things they can actually do.
Precisely. And we've got the goods. Core questions for leaders, some really surprising real-world stories, 3 key principles, and 5 very concrete practices you can implement.
Okay, let's unpack this blueprint then. Where do we start?
It absolutely starts with the manager's mindset. You have to shift.
Shift from what to what?
From being a judge or just an advice giver to being more of a diagnostician. Your focus can't just be on, what should I say?
Okay. So it's more about what does a team need to understand to actually move forward?
Yes. You need a kind of pre-flight checklist before jumping into critique.
And our source material actually gives us a killer set of 4 questions for that. The first 2 focus on solving the right problem,
That's right. First, has the real problem been solved, or did we just, put a bandage on the symptom?
Meaning, if you fix a bug, but the broken process that created the bug is still there.
You haven't achieved anything lasting. You'll just see it again.
Makes sense. And the second question?
What remains vague for the average user? This really forces clarity and makes sure you're thinking about the audience for the work.
Because if the expectation is fuzzy for most people,
then the feedback isn't really useful, is it?
Okay, got it. What's the third question? You said it was crucial.
Yes. Is this a motivational story or a skills story? We'll definitely circle back to this one because confusing those two, that's probably the single biggest management mistake in feedback.
Okay. And the last one.
Is there enough trust in this relationship to actually say the hard thing?
Wow, that hits hard. It really backs up that idea that the quality of feedback depends entirely on the quality of the relationship.
It's directly proportional. If there's no safety, no trust, even your best advice can land like a personal attack.
So how do we build that safety and clarity? You mentioned 3 governing principles.
Right. Principle number 1 is the clarity first principle.
Yeah.
Like you just flagged. Almost all personnel issues fall into one of 2 buckets.
Skill or motivation.
Correct. And you absolutely cannot confuse them.
What actually happens if you do? I mean, it sounds simple, but applying the wrong fix.
Yeah.
What does that lead to?
Oh, it leads straight to frustration. Burnout, even. For everyone involved, the manager gets frustrated, the employee feels misunderstood.
So if someone's struggling, you have to figure out, is it that they literally don't know how to do it? Like a skill gap, maybe they need training, or maybe the goal itself, what awesome looks like, isn't clear.
That's the skills path.
Or is it that they don't want to do it? A motivation issue. Maybe their values don't align or it's just not the right fit for them in that role.
Exactly. And the diagnosis must drive the intervention. Skills gaps need training, maybe pairing them with someone, clearer definitions.
But motivation gaps, that requires a totally different approach.
A completely different conversation about meaning, goals, rewards, or maybe finding them a different role where their motivation does align.
Okay, that's clarity first. Principle 2.
The trust to tell principle. We know feedback needs safety. So what are the signs leaders should actually look for? How do you know if your environment is trustworthy?
Good question. What did the sources say?
They are pretty clear. Signs include people proactively bringing up problems or admitting mistakes, not waiting for you to find them.
Okay, so they feel safe enough to be vulnerable.
Exactly. And also that team members can give feedback to each other without it causing, relational damage or drama. If everyone's silent or only giving polite feedback, your trust level is probably low.
Gotcha. And the final principle. This one challenges the usual thinking, you said.
Yeah, the amplify strengths principle. This kind of flips the traditional deficit-focused management approach.
Where you're always trying to fix weaknesses.
Right. And the sources argued that spending all your energy trying to fix weaknesses, it gives you slow, incremental growth, like turning an F into a C, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you identify something someone is already good at, a real strength, and you amplify it, put them in the right role, give them the right support.
Then you get nonlinear results.
Yeah.
Like way bigger impact.
Exactly. Non-linear leverage. That talented person with just a bit more focused support in their area of strength can create huge breakthroughs for the whole organization.
Okay, that sets a really strong foundation. Trust, clear diagnosis, focusing on strengths. Now let's get into those real-world examples, the anecdotes that kind of challenge how we normally do things.
Yeah, let's start with the big one, the team critique session. Think about the usual design review or project review. It can be awful, right?
Oh, yeah. A dozen people chiming in, often with conflicting advice.
Chaos.
Total chaos.
So our sources detailed a complete redesign. They called it the critique roundtable.
And the genius here, you said, is that the team doesn't just give opinions or grades.
No. They're forced to role play. They have to act as the end user. The manager structures it with specific prompts like, okay, imagine you're waking up, you open this app for the first time. What do you see immediately? What's clear? What feels confusing? How could this specific thing be better? It channels the feedback.
So that structure is key to stopping it from becoming just 30 random notes flying around.
Absolutely. The manager enforces that structure. And the outcome is that the designer, or whoever's presenting, leaves not with a headache, but with 3 to 5 concrete user-focused actions. Structure dictates the outcome.
That's powerful. Now, there's a similar structural idea for the weekly check-in, the one-on-one.
Right. The sources argued the manager's most potent tool in that short, maybe 30-minute one-on-one isn't giving advice.
It's asking questions.
Exactly. Asking, not telling. And the session should be super focused. 3 core questions.
Which are?
1, what are your top 3 goals or priorities for this week? 2, for each of those, what does awesome actually look like? Get specific. 3, what are the obstacles? What's getting in your way? And crucially, 4, how can I help remove those obstacles?
So the manager becomes an obstacle remover, a clarifier.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the one with all the answers.
Precisely. It shifts the dynamic.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to group dynamics.
Heck.
You mentioned something called the Lone Star Paradox.
Yeah.
This sounds juicy.
It is, and it's maybe one of the toughest dilemmas managers face. The sources highlighted cases of people who are just technically brilliant, the absolute best coder, the top salesperson, but they're toxic to work with, they diminish the collective intelligence, maybe they blame others, hoard information, undermine trust.
Yeah, we've probably all encountered someone like that, but managers often keep them, right? Because their individual output is so high, it's measurable.
Exactly. You prioritize those short-term, visible technical wins. It's incredibly hard for leaders to sideline or, remove that toxic star.
Why is it so hard? Just the fear of losing that output.
That's a big part of it. The short-term pain of losing that technical skill is real. It's visible on the spreadsheet. Technical capacity often gets prioritized over, let's call it cultural capacity.
But the sources found
Repeatedly, that teams often improve significantly overall output, innovation, even morale almost immediately after that brilliant but difficult person leaves.
Wow, really?
Really. In the long run, team efficiency, that collective synergy, it's far more powerful than the sum of individual, even brilliant parts.
That is, yes, staggering lesson. The group cohesion trumps individual firepower.
Absolutely. Which ties directly into the next story, the importance of fit sometimes outweighing raw skill. Tell us about Fred.
Fred. Yeah, Fred was apparently a really skilled engineer, super passionate about, cutting-edge stuff, experimental AI, new tech.
His job.
His job was on a team focused on keeping things stable for, billions of users on older low-tech servers. Total mismatch.
Right. So he was constantly frustrated, trying to jam high-tech solutions into low-tech problems. And his team was just confused. He wasn't adding value there.
He had the skill, definitely, but his passion, his interests, They just didn't line up with what that specific team needed.
Exactly. So what did they do? They moved him, put him in R&D.
Where his passion for experimenting was actually needed, celebrated even.
And he apparently just blossomed. The company kept his talent, Fred became a high performer, and his original team got back to focusing on stability without the friction.
It's a perfect example of fit, isn't it? Getting the right person in the right role for the team's mission matters more than just ticking the skill box.
Often, yes. Fit can be more critical than just raw skill alone.
Okay, this is all incredibly insightful. Let's try and bring this home. We've got the principles, these powerful stories. Let's talk about the manager's toolkit, the 5 specific practices.
All right, let's get actionable. Practice 1 is implementing that full redesigned critique roundtable, and it has 3 distinct phases.
Okay, phase 1.
Context. Before anyone gives feedback, the person presenting has to clearly define what's the problem we're trying to solve, what was our hypothesis for the solution, and what does awesome look like here? What are the success criteria?
So setting the stage properly, that stops people arguing about random stuff later.
Exactly. Then phase 2 is the user role play.
Where everyone pretends to be the user. How do you keep that productive?
2 things. Time constraint and forced perspective. Give everyone just 5, maybe 7 minutes for silent note-taking. Focus only on what's clear, what's confusing or messy, and specific ideas for improvement, all from the user's viewpoint.
Okay, and phase 3?
Conclusion. The group works together to finalize just those 3 to 5 actionable next steps. Crucially, assign ownership for each step and set deadlines. The whole focus shifts from judgment to forward momentum.
Love it. Okay, practice number 2. The weekly one-on-one discipline. We talked about the questions.
Yes, but the discipline comes from maintaining a living document of notes from these sessions.
So you track progress. Is that shared with the employee?
No, the sources suggest this is primarily the manager's private record. It helps you track progress week over week against those top 3 priorities. Did the obstacles we talked about last week actually get removed?
I see. So it stops the conversations just going in circles week after week.
Precisely. It turns a casual check-in into a traceable coaching journey. Measurable progress.
Makes sense. Practice 3 is using that diagnosis map, skill versus motivation.
Right. Simple visual tool. X-axis for skill level, Y-axis for motivation level. Plot each team member.
Why is this visual map so critical?
Because it forces you to choose the right intervention visually. If someone plots low skill but high motivation,
They're eager but don't know how. They need coaching, training, maybe pairing.
exactly, if they're high skill but low motivation.
They're capable but bored or disengaged. That needs a different conversation, goals, rewards, maybe a new challenge or role.
Right, and if they're low skill, low motivation,
That's a serious mismatch. Needs immediate attention. Probably reassignment or moving on.
the map makes the necessary action undeniable. You can't ignore it.
Okay. Practice 4 sounds like it tackles that Lone Star paradox head on. Commitment to a no toxic stars culture.
Absolutely crucial. Leadership has to explicitly define what behaviors are unacceptable. Things like undermining others, constant blaming, destroying that psychological safety needed for honest critique.
And it's not just defining it, is it?
No, you have to teach feedback skills to everyone. Make it safe for people to speak up, to hold each other accountable respectfully. You simply cannot let technical brilliance excuse behavior that damages the team fabric.
Because the moment you tolerate it.
You send a clear message, output matters more than respect, and your culture degrades instantly.
Powerful stuff. Okay, final practice, number 5. This links back to amplifying strengths.
Yes, strength recognition rituals. Make recognizing strengths a regular habit.
How? Like Employee of the Month.
More specific and frequent, maybe a weekly 1-minute shout-out process. The manager, or even peers, names a specific positive behavior they saw and its concrete impact. When you stayed late to help Sarah debug that issue, it meant we hit our deadline. Thank you.
Specific behavior, specific impact.
Yes, and alongside that, maintain a kind of team strengths inventory. Know who's naturally good at what. Use that knowledge when assigning tasks or projects. Put people in positions where their strengths can really shine and create that nonlinear leverage we talked about.
So if you consistently apply these practices, the critique roundtables, the disciplined one-on-ones, diagnosing skill versus motivation, refusing toxic stars, recognizing strengths, you're actively shaping the team environment.
You're designing your culture, which leads perfectly to the final big rule from the sources, the cultural ceiling rule.
Okay, what's that?
It's a kind of social law, devastatingly simple. A team, or any group, will inevitably hit a performance ceiling that's defined by the worst behavior the leadership tolerates.
Wow. So one person acting poorly, if unchecked.
Effectively resets the standard for everyone. If leadership allows a culture breaker, whether they're toxic or just lazy, to operate without consequence, they are implicitly saying this is acceptable here. That becomes the ceiling.
That really underscores why the discipline and the structure you've outlined are so critical.
Exactly. It's not about micromanaging, it's about protecting the standard and enabling the team to operate at its best.
So pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for the managers listening?
I think the core idea is that feedback isn't a weapon for judgment. It's the actual operational infrastructure that builds trust.
And the manager's job isn't to be the hero who has all the answers.
No, your job isn't to be the multi-purpose rescuer. It's to activate the collective intelligence of your team. You design the systems, you build the safety, you frame the right questions.
So the team can diagnose and solve its own problems faster and better.
That's the goal. You're the architect of the environment, not the dictator of solutions.
Okay, fantastic. So for everyone listening, some immediate takeaways to try this week. First, maybe sketch out that skill versus motivation map for someone on your team you're puzzling over.
Good starting point. Second, try structuring your next few one-on-ones with those core questions. Priorities, awesome. Obstacles, how can I help?
And third, in your next team critique or review, be really disciplined about driving towards just 3 to 5 concrete, actionable next steps. Avoid that big laundry list.
Absolutely. And maybe the final thought, the provocative bit to leave you with.
Go on.
When you protect the culture, design these intentional meetings, and maintain that one-on-one discipline, you're not just managing a team, you're actually nurturing a community. A community that learns fast, tells the truth because it's safe to, and holds high standards through mutual respect, not fear.
That's a powerful reframe.
And the simplest, most powerful shift you can make, starting literally today. Move away from defaulting to giving advice. Instead, focus on asking better questions. That's the key that unlocks your team's collective power.